All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word, love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shati from the Chicago camp coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And as DJ Khaled said, and another one, because what you're about to see is a video about a judge in South Carolina who's gotten caught up on illegal young child relationships. This video is about 5 minutes long. I'm gonna just let the whole thing play, and we'll get some scripture.
The South Carolina Magistrate Judge James B. Gosnell Jr. Y'all, I am physically sick over the things that I've just read. I'm going to share what I can with you guys, but let me give you a little bit of background first. As I said, he is a magistrate judge in South Carolina. His name is James B. Gosnell Jr. He was arrested last week on September the 16th when authorities got a tip for CSAM. Here's his mugshot. So they trace it back to him. They go to his home. He ends up freely turning over this USB device, letting authorities know that there are hundreds of images. And they gather even more USB devices, cell phone, computers. And in all of that information and data that they gathered, they found a Telegram account that allegedly belongs to this man. Now, first of all, if you want to see and read all these documents for yourself, they're posted on my Substack. That should be in my profile where you can find it. But trigger warning. This is possibly the most vile thing I've ever read in my life. All right, I'm just going to go back to his mugshot because I don't even feel comfortable sharing those documents here. But in Telegram, they found messages between an account that they believe belonged to James. When they opened up his phone and they went to his Telegram app, this was the account that was logged in. Not only did they find CSAM, where he's been purchasing CSAM, they also found multiple conversations where he admitted that he had also physically assaulted multiple children. I believe the youngest one I read was 2 weeks old.
God.
And y'all, according to these messages, one of these infants belonged to his neighbor. And it said that their babysitter stood him up. So he offered. This neighbor's child was a 5-month-old child, female child. And he has a message where he talks about performing this child and how he himself looked like a glazed donut 7 different times. There are other messages where he is communicating with an individual who is also into PDF things. And allegedly, he was in a relationship with this other individual. Now, I don't believe it specified whether that individual was a male or a female. Not that it matters, but there are communications between him and this other PDF where they are talking about James traveling to Florida to meet this individual, and they are planning to SA this other PDF's nephew's infant son. Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm going to share this. I've marked out this part, but they're discussing this. And the magistrate judge replies back, I picked to the back of the head, scramble his brains. He stays alive for a few hours, but for the most part is brain dead. Y'all, if you choose to go look at these documents, please just use an abundance of caution. But that is not all. There is another incident where he discusses holding an infant. I think the baby was 2 months old. Of someone who lives in the neighborhood. He says he's sitting in the street in the neighborhood. He's holding this child, female child, in his lap, and he uses his finger. And that is not all. He has traveled internationally, allegedly traveled internationally multiple times. He even goes into detail in these Telegram messages about traveling to somewhere in Mexico and purchasing a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old from a mother who, according to these messages, was or is an addict. Just, I don't know what else to say. He was in court this afternoon for a bond hearing, and his attorney actually requested for a little bit more time, and so I believe he is supposed to have another bond hearing, which is supposed to be scheduled within the next 10 days. He is also the same magistrate judge who oversaw some of the Dylan Roof hearings, and was reprimanded after he used a racial slur in the court. Y'all, I don't know what else to say.
There ain't too much more else to say. I think you said enough, my dear. But yet they'll have you think that Jake is the true face of horror, of terror here in the United States. No, it's guys like this. The pale male with no beard and no moral upright compass. These are the faces of true terror here in the United States of America. Guys like this. And I guarantee you, on the outside, everybody perceives this man as some morally upright man who has great relations and is in good standing with his community. All his peers love him. He's been a judge and has been upholding the law to the best of his ability for many, many years. And behind the scenes, he's a child super freak. This guy right here, look at that face. That is the true problem. That is the face of absolute terror here in the United States. This is a judge. This is a judge. This is a man that is in a position of power that people are entrusting to be biased and fair and have a great reputation, so that when he does make a judgment, his judgment cannot be questioned because he is a morally upright person. But this guy is a fucking freak, a vile freak. Okay? And the scripture tells us about how we need to conduct ourselves, or how a person needs to conduct themselves, especially if they are in a position of authority. Let me get this in the scripture. All right. Because I know it's two. One says if you desire the office of a bishop, and one says the office of a deacon. Desire. I think, let me see, deacon. Because it says a deacon must be blameless. Let me see, I might have to start up. Oh, yeah, it's in the same thing. Good. It's all in the same place. 1 Timothy 3:1. It says, "This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desireth a good work. A bishop then must be blameless." Let's get that word blameless in 1 Timothy. Is that 3? 1 Timothy 3 and
Strong's G 423. Anapileptos. Anapileptos.
Anapileptos. Anapileptos. Anapileptos, probably. It says, not apprehended, that cannot be laid hold of, that cannot be reprehended, not open to censor, irreproachable, not arrested, inculpable, blameless, unrebukable. And the only way you can be blameless is if you have a good reputation. All right. And we all know what the scripture talks about that. A good name is more precious than all the treasures. It says a bishop then must be blameless, basically without fault. It says the husband of one wife, a vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach. It says not given to wine, nor striker, not greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler, not covetous, one that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. It says not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride he fall into the condemnation of the devil. It says, moreover, he must have a good report of them which are without, lest he fall into reproach and the snare of the devil. Likewise must the deacons be grave, not double-tongued, not given to much wine, not greedy of filthy lucre, holding the mysteries of the faith in pure conscience. All right, I'm going to scroll down. No, I'll still, I can go to verse 10. It says, and let these also first be proved. All right. His character must be proved. Then let them use the office of a deacon, being found blameless. Okay. And I believe that's all I can read, that I need to read on that. But yes. Okay. This is what the Bible tells us. If you are a person in authority, you have to hold yourself by a righteous moral standard. You must conduct yourself in a way where you are unreproachable. You must conduct yourself in a way where, when, as I said earlier, that when society looks at you, they know that you are a fair and a just and a righteous man. That when you speak, when you have to dish out judgment, your decision, nobody will contest it. Nobody will fight it, because you have the reputation of being an upstanding person. And much of this deals most likely outside of the office. Okay, people have to see this walk. People have to see this type of behavior, not only when you're, for lack of a better phrase, when you're not being a judge, but when you are being a judge. They have to see it in all walks of your life. Okay, but this is a man that is vile in his personal life and is vile as a judge. Okay, he's such a damn degenerate that he is so bold to take the office of a man that's supposed to dish out righteous judgment. Ugh, a judge. And see, this is one judge out of many judges that recently have been exposed for this. Now, think about how many judges there are in the entire United States that operate in all types of law, whether it be criminal, civil, finance, copyright, traffic, whatever the case may be. Think about how many judges are out there and how many judges that are exactly like this man right here. And I say this as a man, but this is a whole nother reason why they are not going to open up the Epstein list. It's not because of these stank ass celebrities, these rappers, these singers, these fashion models, and no. That's light work. Guys like this, this is when you getting into the meat and potatoes of it, because there are guys like this all throughout this system. All throughout the system. And if that list were to be opened, to be scrutinized by the American people, it would bring this entire Edomite structure and system to its knees in mere hours. Hours. Because a lot of these judges are like this. And see, this is why when we go to Job 30, Job 30 and 1, this is what Job has to say. It says, "But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock." This guy is so horrible and so evil and so morally corrupt. Job's like, I would not even want to have you around my damn dogs. Because you have to remember, Esau was born to be the wicked. His spirit is in complete contrast to the morally righteous and regal standard of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And because he feels that he does not need to be, for lack of a better phrase or word, restrained, seeing as he doesn't feel that he has to abide by this, he in his spirit, he feels he's free to just do everything and do anything. For this story being a PDF, all right, USB drives with hundreds of pictures, fingering infants, soliciting a dope fiend mom for their 2 children so he can do all types of vile wickedness. This nigga right here gotta go. All right. And we're going to scroll down to verse 8. It says, "They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth." And I got that word in the dictionary, vile. It says morally low, base, despicable, causing physical or mental repulsion. Horrid. Horrid. The acts that this man does are despicable. They are base. They are horrid. They do cause physical and mental repulsion, because any person in their right mind that has some type of morally upright code will find this type of behavior absolutely reprehensible, unforgivable. Especially with him being in a position of authority where he has to render judgment. You're in a position where you're supposed to be fair, respectful, and unbiased in your decision making. And in your daily life, you seeking out how to give cunnilingus to a fucking infant. This is why the Lord is going to put you motherfuckers down. He's going to put you down, you Edomites down like rabid fucking dogs. And like I said, got the nerve to talk about Jay. how they super thugs and criminals and dope boys, and look at our communities and this and that. Well, look at your communities filled with PDFs, and all these judges, all these lawyers, they all hang around each other. So you know that there's a 99% chance that they all indulge in the exact same thing. And what I've noticed in the times that we are in, it's funny that it seems like no matter how hard bad Uncle Esau comes down on us talking shit, it's like the Lord flips it. Like immediately, the Lord immediately shows something like, oh, you want to talk about my people? Okay. Judge, expose PDF. Oh, Jakes are thugs and gangbangers, criminals. All right, I got something for you. Bam. All right, in another mass shooting, we got more white on white crime. I've and just really looking at things in the spirit, I've noticed that the Lord has been doing that on a mass scale recently. It's like I said, this PR campaign that bad Uncle Esau got, as soon as Esau come out with some bullshit, the Lord's like, bam, I got one to counter that. Got another one to counter, and another counter, and another counter, and another counter. All right, it's getting so bad that I saw a video where it said that it's getting to the point where, what was it? The Department of Justice is trying to delete those FBI statistics about these Edomite men. Right? This is how much the Lord is fighting for us. The Lord has exposed them so bad. Because you have to remember, as the scripture says, hey, the Lord's eyes are upon, let me just get that. It says, beholding the evil and the good. Let me see. Yep. No, that's not it. But maybe I'm thinking of two precepts in one. But that is it. I am probably thinking of two precepts in one. But yeah, the Lord's eyes are, according to Amos 9:8, the eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom. And you know what? I am going to read that because that's perfect. Amos 9:8, behold, the eyes of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai are upon the sinful kingdom. All right, and it says, I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith Yahweh. Right, the Lord's eyes are upon this sinful kingdom, and he's exposing bad Uncle Esau for all his wickedness. All those things that he does in the dark, as the scripture says, they say, who seeth us? The Lord see your ass. And this is why as I said, if you haven't noticed, this smear campaign that bad Uncle Esau has against us, the Lord's been countering, and I mean a hard counter. Like that Crawford Canelo counter. All right. That's how Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai hitting. And like I said, it's getting so bad where the Department of Justice is trying to erase those FBI statistics because they don't want people to know that guys
You're a
like
parent.
this and many of their constituents, even to these low-level peon Edomites, they are the true face of terror. They are the problem in the world because they are the wicked that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai has spoken of in the book of Amos is going to completely wipe off the face of this earth. So that's all I wanted to say on this. Hope you all were edified. Till the next time, we're going to say Shalom.